Tonight, we are going to step into one of the oldest questions in Five Nights at Freddy's, but we are going to do it quietly. No shouting, no frantic timeline wall, no pretending that every clue has only one possible answer. Just a slow walk through the theories, the evidence, the contradictions, and the strange little feeling that Golden Freddy has carried since the very first game. Because Golden Freddy is not like the other animatronics. Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy have bodies. They move through cameras. They follow rules, even if the rules are frightening. Golden Freddy feels different from the beginning. He appears like a hallucination. He sits slumped in the office, his eyes are empty, his poster changes. The words "it's me" seem to orbit around him like a broken memory. Sometimes he crashes the game, sometimes he is a suit, sometimes he is a ghost, sometimes he is Fredbear, sometimes he is the one thing William Afton cannot escape. That is why his identity became such a long-running mystery. Golden Freddy is not only a character, he is a question wearing a yellow bear suit. So let us begin at the simplest point, before the names, before the books, before the logbook puzzles, before Ultimate Custom Night, before the arguments about souls sharing one body. In the first 5 nights at Freddy's, Golden Freddy is a secret. He is not introduced with a normal character description. He does not walk down the hallway. He appears rarely, almost like the game has glitched into a different mood. The player sees a yellow version of Freddy collapsed in the office, and if they stare too long, the game punishes them. That first appearance is important because it tells us what Golden Freddy is emotionally, even before it tells us what he is literally. He is interruption. He is memory breaking through the rules. In a game built around monitoring patterns, Golden Freddy is the thing that does not fully behave like a pattern. The other animatronics are threatening because they are coming closer. Golden Freddy is threatening because he is already there. The phrase "it's me" becomes one of the earliest anchors for Golden Freddy theories. It appears in hallucinations and strange flashes, and fans quickly connected it to the idea that a child's spirit was trying to communicate. The words are simple, almost too simple. They do not explain anything, they only insist on recognition. It is me. Remember me. See me. Know who I am. That makes Golden Freddy feel more personal than the others. Bonnie and Chica can kill you, but Golden Freddy seems to accuse you. Even before William Afton was fully shaped into the Purple Killer fans know now, Golden Freddy's presence felt like it was pointed at someone. A ghost does not say "it's me" unless identity matters. The first major identity theory is the one most fans know today. Golden Freddy is Cassidy. Cassidy became central because of the 5 Nights at Freddy's survival logbook. The logbook is not just a cute activity book inside the franchise. It is full of hidden writing, altered text, faded messages, strange questions, page number clues, and a word search where fans found the name Cassidy. The exact puzzle is one of those classic FNAF moments where the evidence feels half like detective work and half like archaeology. Page numbers, my name, hints, and a word search come together to suggest that Cassidy is a name we are supposed to notice. For many fans, Cassidy became the hidden 5th missing child, the obscured grave at the end of Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria Simulator, and the spirit inside Golden Freddy. This theory is often called Golden Cassidy. Its strength is that it gives Golden Freddy a name connected to a real piece of official franchise material. It also fits neatly with the missing children incident. If Gabriel is Freddy, Jeremy is Bonnie, Susie is Chica, Fritz is Foxy, and the 5th child is hidden, then Cassidy can be the missing name attached to the Golden Bear. There is a quiet elegance to that idea. The 4 main animatronics have their children. The 5th child is harder to see, just as Golden Freddy is harder to understand. The gravestone is hidden. The name is hidden. The animatronic appears like a secret. Cassidy becomes the child who was always there, but always obscured. The "it's me" phrase also supports this emotional shape. If Cassidy is Golden Freddy, then "it's me" becomes the voice of the 5th child pressing against the surface of the game. It is not just random ghost text. It is a child trying to be recognised after being buried under suits, rumours, and corporate cover-up. In a series about murdered children being turned into mascots, recognition matters, and name matters. But Cassidy theory is not perfectly simple. In FNAF, nothing stays simple for long. The logbook seems to contain more than one voice. There is faded text asking questions and altered text answering or changing printed words. Some fans read this as Cassidy speaking to another spirit. Others read it as one spirit communicating with Michael Afton. Others believe the altered text belongs to the crying child, sometimes called the bite victim from Five Nights at Freddy's 4. That brings us to the second major theory. The crying child is Golden Freddy. The crying child, or bite victim, is the boy from FNAF 4 who is terrified of the animatronics, tormented by his brother, and eventually killed in the bite of 83 when his head is placed inside Fredbear's mouth. This is one of the most tragic events in the franchise. The child dies because of fear, bullying, family failure, and the dangerous machinery of Fredbear's family diner. And because Fredbear is the Golden Bear suit, many fans naturally connected the crying child to Golden Freddy. The emotional argument is strong. Golden Freddy looks like Fredbear. The crying child dies because of Fredbear. The phrase, "I will put you back together," appears at the end of FNAF 4. FNAF world and later material keeps circling around memories, pieces, happiest days, and putting someone back together. If any child should be connected to the Golden Bear, surely it would be the child whose death happened inside the Golden Bear's mouth. This theory is often called Golden Victim. It says that the bite victim becomes Golden Freddy, or at least one of the spirits connected to Golden Freddy. It gives Golden Freddy's sadness a very specific source, not the missing children incident, but the bite of 83. In that version, Golden Freddy is not only a murdered child hidden by William Afton. Golden Freddy is an Afton family tragedy, a child destroyed by the same restaurant fantasy his father helped build. The difficulty is that the missing children incident still appears to need a fifth victim. The FNAF 3 good ending shows children's spirits being freed, and Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria Simulator shows graves with one hidden name. Golden Freddy's place among the missing children seems important. If the crying child is Golden Freddy, then where does the fifth missing child go? If Cassidy is the fifth child, then what happens to the crying child after FNAF 4? That tension created one of the most important compromise theories, Golden Duo. Golden Duo is the idea that Golden Freddy is possessed, influenced, or haunted by two spirits, Cassidy and the crying child. Cassidy is usually treated as the fifth missing child, while the crying child is connected through Fredbear, the bite of 83, and the logbook conversation. In this theory, Golden Freddy is not one identity but a shared haunting. At first that might sound strange. One animatronic, two souls. But FNAF has made the idea of shared possession less strange over time. The Stitch Wraith stories in Fazbear Frights involve multiple presences connected to one body. The novels and later lore introduce remnant, agony, memory, splitting, merging, and spiritual fragments in ways that make possession more fluid than the earliest games implied. FNAF is not a clean ghost story. It is a ghost story mixed with machinery, trauma, and broken memory. Golden Duo is popular because it lets the evidence breathe. Cassidy can be the hidden name, the fifth victim, and the vengeful presence. The crying child can be the one being asked questions in the logbook, the one with memories of the purple telephone, the party, the Fredbear plush, and the bite of 83. Golden Freddy becomes the place where two tragedies overlap, the public tragedy of the missing children and the private tragedy of the Afton family. There is something very fitting about that. Golden Freddy already feels like a broken rule. Letting him hold more than one broken child makes him feel even more like the centre of the franchise's grief. The logbook is the heart of this argument. Some of the hidden questions seem directed at someone who remembers FNAF 4 imagery. The party was for you. Does he still talk to you? Was your favourite childhood toy a purple plastic telephone? These clues seem connected to the bite victim's bedroom and life. If Cassidy is asking these questions, then Cassidy appears to be speaking to the bite victim. That creates a quiet scene inside the book, one spirit trying to make another spirit remember. That is a very sleepy, sad image when you slow it down. Two children, not fully alive, not fully gone, communicating through an activity book meant for security guards. A printed page becomes a haunted room, a word search becomes a grave, a crossed out sentence becomes a voice. But not everyone agrees with Golden Duo. Some fans prefer Cassidy alone, others prefer the bite victim alone. Some argue that the logbook's altered text does not require a second spirit. Others argue that Michael Afton himself is the one being addressed, especially in theories where Michael and the crying child are somehow linked or confused through memory. And this is where Golden Freddy becomes less like a single theory and more like a family of possible interpretations. The next identity we need to talk about is Michael Brooks. Michael Brooks comes from the original FNAF novel trilogy, The Silver Eyes, The Twisted Ones, and The Fourth Closet. In that continuity, Michael Brooks is one of William Afton's victims, and he is associated with Golden Freddy. He is not the same as Michael Afton. That name overlap can make the series confusing, so it helps to say it clearly. Michael Brooks is a murdered child from the novels, not the older Afton son from the games. In the novel trilogy, Golden Freddy is much more directly tied to Michael Brooks than the games ever tied him to a name at first. Because of that, some fans once wondered if Michael Brooks could also be Golden Freddy in the games. This theory is usually called Golden Brooks. Its appeal is obvious. The books gave Golden Freddy a human identity before the games gave fans a widely accepted one. If Michael Brooks is Golden Freddy in the novels, maybe he tells us something about Golden Freddy in general. But the problem is continuity. The FNAF novels are not usually treated as a one-to-one version of the game timeline. They are more like alternate continuities that reuse characters, ideas, and emotional structures. They can reveal how concepts work, but they do not always transfer names directly. Henry, Charlie, William, and the animatronics appear in the novels, but events do not line up cleanly with the games. So Michael Brooks is extremely important as a counterpart, but less accepted as the game Golden Freddy's actual identity. Still, he matters. Michael Brooks shows that Golden Freddy being a murdered child was not just a random fan invention. The novels leaned into that idea. They gave the Golden Bear a child connected to the group of victims, and they presented Golden Freddy as something more ghostly and emotionally aware than a normal animatronic. Even if Michael Brooks is not the game spirit, he helps define what kind of role Golden Freddy plays in the franchise. Then the series got even stranger with Fazbear Frights, and another name entered the conversation: Andrew. Andrew is a child from the Fazbear Frights books, especially tied to the Stitch Wraith epilogues, and the story The Man in Room 1280. In that story and its related material, William Afton is kept alive in a burned, impossible state, suffering because a vengeful spirit will not let him die. That spirit is connected to Andrew. This immediately reminded fans of Ultimate Custom Night, where the player, widely believed to be William Afton, is trapped in a repeating nightmare by the one you should not have killed. Ultimate Custom Night is crucial for Golden Freddy theories. The game includes voice lines from several characters referring to a mysterious vengeful figure. This figure is called the one you should not have killed. At the end of the game, Golden Freddy appears twitching in darkness. Old Man Consequences tells a bear-like sprite to leave the demon to his demons and rest. The implication, for many fans, is that Golden Freddy's spirit is the one holding Afton in torment. If Cassidy is Golden Freddy, then Cassidy is often identified as the one you should not have killed. This is Cassidy Toysnhk, or Cassidy as the vengeful spirit. It makes Cassidy not just the hidden fifth child, but the child whose anger is so strong that even death does not let William rest. Golden Freddy becomes the final grudge, but Fazbear Frights complicates that. If Andrew is the vengeful child in the books, and if the Man in Room 1280 parallels Ultimate Custom Night, then maybe Andrew is the true identity of the one you should not have killed. This creates Andrew Toysnhk. Some versions of the theory place Andrew in the game continuity. Others treat him as a parallel to Cassidy, meaning the books are showing us the role without giving us the exact game name. There is a subtle difference there. Saying Andrew is literally in the games is one claim, saying Andrew is a narrative parallel to Cassidy is another. The first makes Andrew a direct Golden Freddy candidate. The second uses Andrew to understand what Cassidy might be doing. Both approaches exist in the fandom, and both are trying to answer the same question. Who is angry enough to keep William trapped? The Andrew theory has strength because Fazbear Frights gives the vengeful spirit concept a lot of detail. It shows a burned Afton figure, a child attached to him, nightmares, agony, and a refusal to let him die. Those are very close to the themes fans associate with Ultimate Custom Night. But Andrew has a weakness too. He is not clearly established in the game timeline the way Cassidy is through the logbook puzzle. So for many fans, Andrew explains the mechanism, while Cassidy remains the game identity. This is where Golden Freddy theories begin to branch into multi-soul theories beyond Golden Duo. Some fans argue for Golden Trio, Cassidy, the crying child, and Andrew all connected to Golden Freddy, or to the Golden Freddy role. Others suggest variations involving Michael Brooks as a continuity counterpart, or the blonde kid from the FNAF movie, or other figures depending on how broadly they read the books and films. These theories usually arise because Golden Freddy has too many clues for one clean answer. If Cassidy has the name, the crying child has the Fredbear connection, Andrew has the vengeful torment parallel, and Michael Brooks has the novel identity. Maybe Golden Freddy is less a single person, and more a convergence point. That idea can sound messy, but FNAF itself is messy. Souls can linger. Memories can split. Agony can infect objects. Suits can become symbols across timelines. A character can have one identity in a novel, another implication in a game, and a third face in a movie. Golden Freddy sits at the centre of all that because he was never normal to begin with. Still, for sleep, let us slow this down and separate the layers. Layer 1 is the physical suit. Golden Freddy appears to be connected to Fredbear, the yellow bear from Fredbear's family diner. Fredbear is the animatronic involved in the Bite of 83. Golden Freddy's design changes between games, but the Golden Bear identity ties him to that older restaurant, older than the main Freddy Fazbear's Pizza in many parts of the lore. Physically then, Golden Freddy is the shadow of Fredbear. Layer 2 is the missing children incident. The missing children need a fifth victim. The fifth grave is obscured. Golden Freddy is often the fifth animatronic spirit. Cassidy fits here. This is the cleanest game lore answer for many fans. Cassidy, the hidden fifth child, possesses Golden Freddy. Layer 3 is the Afton family tragedy. The crying child dies inside Fredbear. He is told he will be put back together. FNAF 4's imagery appears in logbook questions. This makes the crying child feel spiritually tied to Golden Freddy, even if he's not the only identity. Layer 4 is vengeance. Ultimate custom. Night points toward a spirit who refuses to let William rest. Golden Freddy appears in the final cutscene. This makes Golden Freddy not just haunted, but vengeful. Cassidy is often placed here, but Andrew from Fazbear Frights also lives in this layer. Layer 5 is parallel continuity. Michael Brooks in the novels, the blonde Golden Freddy child in the movie, and Andrew in the books all show different versions of the same Golden Bear idea. They may not all be the same person across every timeline, but they reveal how the franchise uses Golden Freddy as the child closest to memory, revenge, and unresolved death. The movie version is worth pausing on, because it introduces a different image of the Golden Freddy spirit. In the Five Nights at Freddy's movie, the ghostly child associated with Golden Freddy is a blonde boy. He appears as one of the murdered children and seems to have a particular connection to Abby and the others. This does not automatically rewrite the game lore. The movie is its own adaptation, but it matters because it shows that Golden Freddy's spirit can be reinterpreted depending on continuity. For some fans, the movie strengthens the idea that Golden Freddy's identity is not locked to one visual design. Cassidy in the novels is described differently from the movie child. Andrew is another book figure. Michael Brooks is another continuity. The Golden Bear role keeps returning, but the face changes. That suggests Golden Freddy is both a character and an archetype, the child at the centre of the haunting, the one with the deepest memory, the one who refuses to fade. There are also older and more fringe theories. Some fans once connected Golden Freddy to Phone Guy, especially because Golden Freddy and the phone calls both had strange relationships to the first game's mystery. This theory is not widely accepted now, but it belongs to the history of the fandom. Early FNAF theorizing happened in a world with fewer games, fewer books, and far less confirmed context. People built theories from scraps, posters, hallucinations, rare screens, phone calls, newspaper clippings, and death minigames. Some fans have also argued that Golden Freddy is not possessed in a normal way at all. Maybe he is a hallucination caused by guilt. Maybe he is a projection of agony. Maybe he is not a moving animatronic, but a ghost using the image of Fredbear. This type of theory focuses less on the human name and more on the supernatural behaviour. Golden Freddy teleports, appears without walking, turns into a giant head in some contexts, and breaks normal mechanics. Maybe that means the suit is not the point. Maybe Golden Freddy is what a spirit looks like when it is no longer fully attached to a body. That interpretation can coexist with Cassidy or the crying child. Cassidy could be the spirit, but Golden Freddy's strange behaviour could come from the fact that he is less physically anchored than the others. The suit may be empty, broken, retired, or symbolic. The ghost may use it like a mask, not like a normal animatronic body. This is one reason the debate can feel endless. Fans are not only asking who is Golden Freddy, they're asking what kind of thing is Golden Freddy? Is he a suit, a ghost, Fredbear, a hallucination, a child, two children, a revenge engine, a symbolic face used by multiple continuities? The answer depends on which layer you are studying. Cassidy remains the stronger central theory because it has the clearest name clue in game-adjacent material. The logbook puzzle, the hidden grave, the word search, and the It's Me association all make Cassidy hard to ignore. If someone asks for the most commonly accepted identity of game Golden Freddy, Cassidy is usually the safest answer, but the crying child remains emotionally difficult to remove. His death is too directly tied to Fredbear. His memories seem too present in the logbook. The promise to put him back together echoes too loudly through later lore. Even if he is not Golden Freddy alone, he feels connected to the Golden Bear tragedy. Andrew remains important because he helps explain the vengeful spirit side. If Ultimate Custom Night is William's nightmare, and if the man in room 1280 is meant to illuminate that kind of torment, then Andrew's role cannot be dismissed casually. He may be literal, parallel, or thematic, but he shows what the franchise means by a spirit refusing to let Afton go. Michael Brooks remains important because he is the novel trilogy's Golden Freddy child. He may not be the game answer, but he proves that different continuities can assign the Golden Bear to different children, while preserving the same emotional function. And the movie child remains important because adaptations keep the Golden Freddy role alive. The details shift, but the image remains. A yellow bear, a dead child, a strange intelligence, and a feeling that this ghost knows more than the others. Before we go deeper into the names, it helps to follow Golden Freddy through the series like a quiet trail of yellow footprints, even though Golden Freddy rarely leaves footprints at all. In the first 5 nights at Freddy's, he's almost mythic because he is so rare. A player can finish nights, learn doors, lights, power, cameras and patterns, and still not fully understand what happened the first time Golden Freddy appears. The poster changes, the room changes, the rules change. This is why early fans treated him less like a character and more like an urban legend inside the game. He was the thing you told another player about afterward, half as evidence and half as a story. In 5 Nights at Freddy's 2, Golden Freddy appears again, but now the world is larger. There are more animatronics, more minigames, more death imagery, and more suggestions that dead children are controlling the mascots. Golden Freddy appears in a withered form and can even manifest as a giant head in the hallway. That matters, because it pushes him even further away from normal animatronic behaviour. A giant floating Golden Freddy head is not a repairable restaurant robot. It is an image of a ghost using a mascot face however it wants. The second game also deepens the missing children mystery. The death minigames show that the restaurants are built on hidden violence. Children appear, Purple Guy appears, bodies and masks begin to form a symbolic language. Golden Freddy sits inside that language as the strange fifth presence, the one that seems connected to the same tragedy, but not expressed in the same straightforward way as the others. 5 Nights at Freddy's 3 then brings the Happiest Day minigame, and the idea of freeing spirits into focus. The masked children, the cake, the party, and the good ending all matter for Golden Freddy theories because one child receives the final cake while wearing a Golden Freddy-style mask. The scene is soft, strange, and symbolic. It does not tell the player a name, it gives an image of release. For Cassidy believers, Happiest Day can be the moment where the 5th missing child is finally freed. For Crying Child believers, it can connect to the birthday party that went wrong in FNAF 4. For Golden Duo believers, it becomes even more layered. Perhaps one spirit helps another remember. Perhaps one child receives what the other was denied. Perhaps the cake is not only a cake but a repaired memory. Then FNAF 4 arrives and turns the Golden Bear mystery into something more personal. Suddenly Fredbear is not just an old mascot. Fredbear is the mouth that closes around a child's head. The Golden Bear is no longer only tied to a murder mystery at Freddy's, it is tied to a child's bedroom, hospital imagery, bullying, family guilt, and the awful final sentence, "I will put you back together." That sentence has haunted the fandom almost as much as It's Me. It sounds like a promise, but nobody agrees on who is making it or what putting someone back together means. Is it William Afton speaking through the Fredbear plush? Is it the puppet? Is it another spirit? Is it a promise of spiritual repair, technological repair, memory repair, or something else entirely? Whatever the answer, it gives the crying child a lingering afterlife in the story. He does not simply die and vanish. Something is supposed to happen to him afterward. That is why the crying child stays attached to Golden Freddy theories even when Cassidy has stronger naming evidence. The crying child may not have the clearest name, but he has the clearest wound. A child killed by Fredbear will always feel tied to Fredbear's ghost. Sister Location and Pizzeria Simulator then add new machinery to the discussion. Remnant becomes more important. The idea that souls can be melted, moved, injected, trapped or combined makes possession less clean than it once seemed. Pizzeria Simulator gives us the gravestones with one name hidden. This is one of the strongest visual supports for Cassidy as the fifth child. 4 graves can be associated with the 4 named missing children, while the hidden grave lines up with the hidden nature of Golden Freddy. But that hidden grave also does something emotionally clever. It does not simply tell us the answer, it makes the answer absent. The camera places the mystery where a name should be. In a franchise obsessed with names being hidden and recovered, that is powerful. Golden Freddy's identity is not announced, it is withheld, and withholding becomes part of the character. Ultimate Custom Night changes the tone again. Before UCN, Golden Freddy could be read mostly as a haunted victim. After UCN, Golden Freddy becomes connected to punishment. The lines about the one you should not have killed suggest not only a child who died, but a child who is actively holding on to rage. The final Golden Freddy cutscene, with the bear twitching in darkness, is one of the most important images in the debate. It does not say, "This is Cassidy." It does not say, "This is Andrew." It simply gives us Golden Freddy unable or unwilling to rest. That is why the one matters so much. The one is not just a name candidate. The one is a mood. His spirit is singular, focused, and relentless. While other children may be freed or may fade, the one keeps William in a nightmare. They do not want justice in the peaceful sense. They want continuation. They want William to suffer, and they have enough power or enough agony to make that suffering repeat. This is where Cassidy's character changes depending on the theory. In some versions, Cassidy is not only the 5th missing child, but the vengeful spirit. That makes Cassidy the child who refuses the happiest day, or the child who delays rest, or the child whose anger is so intense that even Old Man Consequences has to tell the bear to leave the demon alone. In other versions, Cassidy may be Golden Freddy, but not necessarily the one, with Andrew taking the vengeful role through the book parallel. In still other versions, Cassidy and Andrew-like vengeance are merged into one idea. The books complicate everything, but they also help explain the emotional logic. The novel trilogy gives us Michael Brooks, a Golden Freddy child, who is gentle, protective, and clearly tied to the golden suit in that continuity. Fazbear Frights gives us Andrew, a child attached to Afton through anger, keeping him alive and suffering. These 2 book children feel like 2 halves of Golden Freddy's possible personality, Michael Brooks as the remembered victim, Andrew as the revenge that will not let go. Cassidy, in the game theory space, often has to carry both halves. Cassidy is the hidden child who needs a name, and Cassidy may also be the angry child who traps William. That is a heavy role for a character who is mostly discovered through clues rather than direct scenes. Maybe that is why the fandom argues so much about Cassidy. The character is important, but the actual text leaves enough empty space for people to imagine very different versions. Some fans imagine Cassidy as a girl with black hair, influenced by book descriptions and fan tradition. Some imagine Cassidy as gender ambiguous because the game evidence does not make everything simple. Some connect Cassidy to the face in Ultimate Custom Night, while others point out that the face used was an edited image of Scott Cawthon's son, and that the casting direction for the vengeful spirit was deliberately ambiguous. Even the gender discussion becomes part of the larger mystery. Golden Freddy resists being pinned down. That ambiguity is not always comfortable, but it is very FNAF. The series often gives an image first and a name later. Sometimes it gives a name without a clear image. Sometimes it gives a book counterpart, then a game clue, then a movie variation, and expects the audience to decide how much weight each continuity should carry. The Crying Child has a similar problem in reverse. We have an image of him. We have his death. We have his fear, his plush, his brother, his birthday, and his hospital-like ending. But we do not have a confirmed name in the games. Some theories have tried to name him Evan. Some use Garrett from the movie as a parallel. Some use Cassidy Victim, where Cassidy is the crying child's name rather than the fifth missing child. Others leave him nameless and simply call him BV or CC. That lack of a confirmed name makes him feel unfinished, which is thematically appropriate but very inconvenient for theorists. If the crying child is Golden Freddy alone, the theory gives FNAF 4 enormous importance. Golden Freddy becomes less about the missing children incident and more about the Afton household. It turns the first game's It's Me into something possibly directed at Michael Afton, the older brother, rather than William. The ghost in the office might be saying, "It's me, your brother." That is emotionally strong, especially if the player character of FNAF 1 is Michael Afton. But the cost is that Cassidy and the fifth missing child become harder to place. Some Golden Victim theories solve this by saying the fifth child is someone else, or by separating Golden Freddy from the fifth missing child imagery. Others merge the answers through Golden Duo. This is why Golden Duo became so appealing. It does not force one tragedy to erase the other. Golden Duo also makes sense of Golden Freddy's strange power. If Golden Freddy contains both a murdered child and a child broken by Fredbear, maybe his unusual behaviour comes from layered agony. He is not like Freddy or Bonnie because his haunting is not like theirs. He is a knot of two deaths connected by the same yellow bear image. The weakness of Golden Duo is that it can become too convenient. Whenever a clue points to Cassidy, it goes to Cassidy. Whenever a clue points to the crying child, it goes to the crying child. That can make the theory feel flexible enough to absorb anything. But flexibility is not always bad in FNAF, because the lore itself often behaves like broken pieces being arranged around a hidden picture. The question is whether Golden Duo explains the clues elegantly, or simply avoids choosing. Golden Trio and larger multi-spirit theories face that same problem even more strongly. Adding Andrew can help explain the vengeful spirit, but it also risks making Golden Freddy overcrowded. Adding Michael Brooks as a literal game spirit is even harder because he belongs clearly to the novel continuity. Adding the movie child directly into the game timeline creates another continuity problem. The more names you add, the more the theory can explain, but the less clean it becomes. Still, multi-spirit theories are not nonsense. FNAF itself has given fans reasons to think souls can overlap, attach, split, and linger in unusual ways. The Stitch Wraith is the major example people point to. The Fun Times and Remnant experiments also make soul mechanics messy. If any animatronic could plausibly become a spiritual crossroads, it would be Golden Freddy. Another important question is whether Golden Freddy is Fredbear, or only resembles Fredbear. In some contexts, Golden Freddy seems like the ghostly version of Fredbear. In others, he appears as a yellow Freddy model rather than the clean Fredbear design fans might expect. The franchise plays with this because Fredbear and Freddy are historically connected mascots. Golden Freddy can be read as an old Fredbear suit, a broken spare suit, a ghostly projection of Fredbear, or a visual shorthand for the Golden Bear legacy. This matters for the crying child because if Golden Freddy is directly Fredbear, the Bite of 83 connection becomes stronger. If Golden Freddy is a different yellow Freddy suit used in the missing children incident, Cassidy becomes cleaner. If Golden Freddy is a ghostly symbol rather than a single physical suit, both can be true in different ways. The physical question also explains why Golden Freddy's limp posture is so memorable. He does not stand like an active robot. He sits like a suit with no endoskeleton, or like a body that has lost the ability to pretend. That slumped pose made fans wonder from the beginning whether he was empty, broken, or purely supernatural. It is a pose of exhaustion. Maybe that is why it fits a sleep script so well. Golden Freddy does not run at you. He simply appears, heavy with everything the story has not said yet. So, if we were to explain the theories like a quiet ranking, it might sound like this. The simplest modern game answer is Cassidy. Cassidy is the hidden name, the fifth missing child candidate, and the spirit most often tied to Golden Freddy by the fandom. The most emotionally resonant Fredbear answer is the crying child. He dies in Fredbear's mouth, and his memories seem to echo through the logbook and FNAF 4's aftermath. The most balanced compromise is Golden Duo. Cassidy and the crying child share the Golden Freddy mystery, with Cassidy as the missing child, and the crying child as the broken child being helped to remember. The strongest book counterpart is Michael Brooks. He He is Golden Freddy in the novel trilogy's continuity, showing how the Golden Bear role works outside the games. The strongest vengeful spirit complication is Andrew. He may be a literal game candidate for some fans, or a book parallel for others, but he matters because he mirrors the child keeping Afton trapped in torment. The broadest interpretation is that Golden Freddy is not one fixed identity across all media. Instead, Golden Freddy is the franchise's golden wound, a place where murder, memory, Fredbear, revenge, and unresolved childhood all meet. That last interpretation may be the most useful for falling asleep because it lets the mystery breathe. We do not have to force every clue into one tiny box. We can let Golden Freddy be what he has always felt like, a presence too strange to become ordinary. Imagine the first game again. The office is dark, the fan is humming, the camera flips down. For a second, there he is, slumped in front of you, yellow and impossible. No footsteps, no hallway, no warning that makes normal sense. Just Golden Freddy sitting like a memory that found its way into the room. That image is why the identity question lasted. A normal animatronic can be explained with a route and a behaviour pattern. Golden Freddy asks for a name. Cassidy, crying child, Michael Brooks, Andrew, the one you should not have killed. Fredbear, a ghost, a hallucination, a shared body, a broken memory. Each name answers part of the image, but none of them fully drains the mystery away. Cassidy gives the ghost a hidden name. The crying child gives the ghost a family tragedy. Michael Brooks gives the ghost a novel counterpart. Andrew gives the ghost a model of revenge. The movie child gives the ghost another face. Fredbear gives the ghost a body. And It's Me gives the ghost a voice. That may be the most important clue of all, not because it solves everything, but because it tells us what Golden Freddy wants. He wants recognition. He wants someone to know that the thing in the suit was once a child. He wants the player, or William, or Michael, or maybe all of them, to look at the empty eyes and understand that something is still there. Five Nights at Freddy's is a story about things hidden inside mascots, bodies hidden inside suits, crimes hidden inside restaurants, names hidden inside puzzles, grief hidden inside arcade minigames. Golden Freddy is the perfect symbol for that story because he is almost nothing but hiddenness. He is the character you see by accident, the name you find through a puzzle, the grave you cannot read, the spirit who may be speaking through other voices, the bear who may be told to rest and still refuses. In that sense, the identity theories are not just fandom arguments, they are part of the experience of Golden Freddy. The uncertainty is the point. Scott Cawthon built a mystery where the audience has to dig through games, books, hidden text, minigames, endings and cutscenes, and Golden Freddy sits quietly at the centre of it all, as if waiting to see who remembers. So as we close this slowly, we can hold the theories gently instead of fighting them. Maybe Golden Freddy is Cassidy, the fifth child whose name was hidden in the logbook and whose grave was obscured. Maybe Golden Freddy is the crying child, broken by Fredbear and held in the golden suit's memory. Maybe Golden Freddy is both, two children sharing one impossible haunting. Maybe the vengeful spirit of Ultimate Custom Night is Cassidy, refusing to let William rest. Maybe Andrew explains that vengeance from the book side, either as a parallel or as another soul in the tangled web. Maybe Michael Brooks shows us the same role in another continuity, where the Golden Bear's child has a different name. Maybe every version is circling the same idea, a child in yellow, impossible to forget. And maybe that is why Golden Freddy never needed to move like the others. He was never only coming down the hallway, he was coming from the past, a past with birthday parties, missing children, springlock suits, closed restaurants, hidden graves, and one phrase flickering again and again through the dark. It's me. Not a jump scare, not really. A memory, a name trying to be found. A ghost asking not to be turned back into a mascot. And there, in the quiet, Golden Freddy remains, slumped, golden, empty-eyed, and still somehow watching. Research notes. This script was informed by FNAF theory wiki pages on Golden Cassidy, Golden Victim, Logbook Duo, Golden Duo style theories, Golden Freddy Soul theory lists, Ultimate Custom Night pages about the one you should not have killed, FNAF wiki pages about Ultimate Custom Night's minor characters, and Golden Freddy / Michael Brooks novel wiki summaries. It treats disputed points as theories, not settled canon. Now let us slow down even further and walk through the specific evidence that built each theory, piece by piece, like examining puzzle fragments under soft light. The logbook puzzle that revealed Cassidy's name is one of the most intricate pieces of evidence in the entire franchise. It is not a simple word search where you circle a name and move on. The survival logbook contains multiple layers of hidden communication. There is printed text, which is the normal security guard activity book content. There is faded text, which appears in light grey and asks questions. There is altered text, which changes or crosses out printed words to create new messages. And there are visual clues, including page numbers, grid coordinates, and a word search puzzle. The name Cassidy emerges when players follow a specific sequence. Faded text asks, "What is your name?" Altered text responds by changing letters in the word search grid and using page number clues to spell out Cassidy. This is not accidental. The puzzle requires players to notice that certain letters in the word search are highlighted or circled in a way that does not match the printed solutions. When you follow the coordinates given by other clues in the book, those letters spell Cassidy. This type of puzzle is very FNAF. It rewards close attention, pattern recognition, and the willingness to believe that Scott Cawthon hides answers in places most people would not think to look. The logbook is not only a book, it is a haunted object within the lore, something that spirits can write in, alter, and use to communicate across time or death. That makes the puzzle feel less like a game mechanic and more like actual ghost behaviour. For Cassidy believers, this is the smoking gun. The name is hidden, just like the fifth child's grave is hidden. The method of discovery mirrors the theme of the character, obscured, requiring effort to see but undeniably present once you know where to look. Cassidy is not announced with a cutscene or a voice line. Cassidy is discovered the way you might discover a name carved into a wall that has been painted over. You have to scrape away the surface to find it. But the logbook does not only give us Cassidy, it also gives us the conversation. The faded text asks questions that seem directed at someone with specific memories. The party was for you. Does he still talk to you? What do you see? These questions feel personal, intimate, and connected to FNAF 4 imagery. The altered text responds, sometimes with confusion, sometimes with answers. This creates the impression of two voices, one asking, one answering. If Cassidy is the faded text, then Cassidy is the one asking questions. If the crying child is the altered text, then the crying child is the one being asked to remember. This is the foundation of Golden Duo. The logbook becomes a space where two spirits, both connected to Golden Freddy in different ways, are trying to communicate. Cassidy is trying to help the crying child remember who he was, what happened to him, and perhaps how to move on. That interpretation is emotionally powerful, because it turns the logbook into a kind of therapy session between ghosts. One child is helping another child piece together a broken identity. The phrase, "I will put you back together," echoes here. Maybe putting the crying child back together is not a physical process. Maybe it is helping him remember his name, his life, his death, and his connection to the others. But not everyone reads the logbook this way. Some fans argue that the faded text is Charlotte Emily, the puppet, who has a history of helping other children and giving gifts. In that version, the puppet is asking the crying child questions through the logbook, while Cassidy is somewhere else, perhaps the altered text, perhaps not involved in this specific conversation at all. This creates theories like altered duo, where the puppet and the crying child are the two voices, and Cassidy is confirmed as Golden Freddy but not necessarily part of the logbook dialogue. The difficulty is that the logbook does not label its voices. It does not say, "This is Cassidy speaking, this is the crying child responding." It gives clues, patterns and implications, and then it lets the fandom argue about what those implications mean. That is very frustrating if you want clean answers, but it is also very effective storytelling if you want a mystery that lasts. The crying child's connection to Golden Freddy is built on different evidence. It is less about puzzles and more about symbolism, tragedy and visual design. The crying child dies inside Fredbear's mouth. Fredbear is a golden bear. Golden Freddy is a golden bear. The connection feels obvious on a surface level, but FNAF is rarely that simple. The crying child's death is one of the most clearly shown deaths in the series. We see the bite happen, we see the aftermath, we see the hospital equipment, we hear the flatline. This is not a hidden murder. This is a public tragedy, an accident caused by bullying, negligence, and dangerous animatronic design. The crying child does not disappear into a back room. He dies in front of witnesses, in a way that would have been investigated, reported and remembered. That makes his death different from the missing children incident. The missing children were taken secretly, murdered by William Afton, and hidden inside animatronic suits. Their deaths were covered up. The crying child's death was not covered up. It was the bite of '83, an event that would have closed Fredbear's family diner and created lawsuits, news coverage, and public outrage. So if the crying child becomes Golden Freddy, it is not through the same mechanism as the other children. This is where the "I will put you back together" promise becomes crucial. If someone or something promised to put the crying child back together, then maybe that promise was kept in a supernatural way. Maybe the crying child's soul was placed into Fredbear, or into the idea of Fredbear, or into the same spiritual space that the fifth missing child would later occupy. Maybe the crying child was the first ghost in the Golden Bear, and Cassidy joined him later. That version of events makes Golden Freddy a tragedy that spans years. The crying child dies in 1983. The missing children incident happens in 1985. If both the crying child and Cassidy end up in Golden Freddy, then the suit becomes a container for two different kinds of death. One public and accidental, one secret and intentional. That layering could explain why Golden Freddy behaves so strangely. He's not one ghost following one set of rules. He is two ghosts with two different reasons for existing. The Fredbear plush is another piece of evidence that crying child theorists point to. The plush follows the crying child through FNAF 4, speaking to him, comforting him, and eventually making the promise to put him back together. The plush's final line is, "I will put you back together." The text is different from the rest of the game. It is reversed, distorted, and ominous. This suggests that the speaker is not a normal toy. The speaker is something else. Some fans believe the speaker is William Afton, using the plush as a surveillance device or a way to manipulate his son. Others believe the speaker is the puppet Charlotte Emily, who has a history of giving life to the dead. Others believe the speaker is Golden Freddy himself, speaking backward through time, or a fragment of the crying child's own mind trying to comfort itself. The identity of the speaker changes what the promise means. If William is speaking, the promise might be a lie, or it might refer to the horrific experiments William conducts with Remnant and animatronics. If the puppet is speaking, the promise might be about giving the crying child a second chance at existence inside an animatronic. If Golden Freddy is speaking, the promise might be about the crying child becoming Golden Freddy. Each interpretation leads to a different theory about what happened after the flatline. The crying child also has visual connections to Golden Freddy that go beyond the Fredbear suit. In some minigames and images, the crying child is associated with the colour yellow. His tears, his room, his toys, and his trauma all orbit around Fredbear, the yellow bear. If FNAF uses colour as a symbolic language, then yellow is the crying child's colour, and Golden Freddy is yellow. But the crying child has a major problem as a Golden Freddy candidate. He does not fit neatly into the missing children incident. The 5 missing children are Gabriel, Jeremy, Susie, Fritz, and Cassidy. Those 5 names are connected to the 5 main animatronics: Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, Foxy, and Golden Freddy. If the crying child is Golden Freddy, then where does Cassidy go? If Cassidy is Golden Freddy, then what happens to the crying child after his death? This is the tension that Golden Duo tries to resolve. Instead of forcing one child out of the story, Golden Duo says both children are part of Golden Freddy. The crying child is the first, the one connected to Fredbear and the bite of '83. Cassidy is the second, the one connected to the missing children incident and the hidden grave. Together they create the strange, powerful, vengeful presence that Golden Freddy represents. Golden Duo also explains why Golden Freddy seems to have 2 moods. Sometimes Golden Freddy feels sad, passive, slumped, like a child who is tired and wants to rest. Other times Golden Freddy feels angry, active, vengeful, like a child who refuses to let William Afton escape punishment. If Golden Freddy contains 2 spirits, then maybe one spirit is tired and one spirit is angry. Maybe the crying child wants peace, and Cassidy wants revenge. That duality appears in Ultimate Custom Night. Old Man Consequences, a character who represents rest and letting go, tells a bear to leave the demon to his demons. The bear is widely interpreted as Golden Freddy. The demon is William Afton. Old Man Consequences is saying, stop tormenting him, let him suffer on his own. You need to rest. But the bear does not seem to listen. The bear keeps William trapped in the nightmare. If Golden Freddy is only one spirit, then that spirit is choosing revenge over rest. If Golden Freddy is two spirits, then maybe one spirit wants to rest and the other refuses. Maybe the crying child is the one being told to let go, and Cassidy is the one holding on. Maybe Old Man Consequences is trying to separate them, to let the crying child have his happiest day while Cassidy continues the torment. This interpretation makes Ultimate Custom Night even more tragic. It is not only about William suffering, it is about a child who cannot let go, who is so consumed by anger that even another spirit is begging them to stop. Cassidy becomes not only a victim, but a character trapped by their own need for revenge. That is a very dark, very sad version of the story, but it fits the tone of FNAF, where even the ghosts are not entirely innocent. Andrew complicates this further because Andrew, in the Fazbear Frights books, is explicitly the child who keeps William alive and suffering. In The Man in Room 128, William Afton is a burned, nightmarish figure kept alive by a vengeful spirit. That spirit is Andrew. Andrew refuses to let William die, because death would be an escape, and Andrew does not want William to escape. Andrew wants William to suffer forever. The parallels to Ultimate Custom Night are obvious. William is trapped. A child is keeping him trapped. The child is connected to a golden bear. The child is called the one you should not have killed. If The Man in Room 1280 is meant to explain or parallel Ultimate Custom Night, then Andrew is the book version of the one. But Andrew is not Cassidy. Andrew is a different name, a different character, from a different continuity. So what does that mean for the games? Some fans argue that Andrew is literally in the games, that the name Cassidy is a red herring or a misunderstanding, and that Andrew is the true identity of the one you should not have killed. This is Andrew Toysnhk. It makes Andrew the game's vengeful spirit, the child inside Golden Freddy who refuses to let William rest. The problem with Andrew Toy's NHK is that Cassidy has much stronger game evidence. The logbook puzzle, the hidden grave, the fifth missing child slot, all of these point to Cassidy, not Andrew. Andrew appears in books that are not always treated as direct game canon. So for many fans, Andrew is important as a parallel, a way to understand what the vengeful spirit role looks like, but not necessarily the literal game identity. Other fans propose compromise theories. Unaware duo suggests that both Cassidy and Andrew are the one you should not have killed, but at different points in the timeline, without knowing about each other. Maybe Cassidy was the vengeful spirit first, and Andrew took over later, or vice versa. Maybe they are the same role, expressed in different continuities. This lets both names matter without forcing one to erase the other. Golden Trifecta takes the multi-spirit idea even further. It says that Golden Freddy contains three spirits: the crying child, Cassidy, and Andrew. Or in some versions, the crying child, Cassidy, and the blonde kid from the FNAF movie. This theory tries to account for every possible Golden Freddy candidate by saying they are all correct in different ways. Golden Freddy becomes not a single haunted animatronic, but a convergence point for multiple tragedies. The appeal of Golden Trifecta is that it stops the fandom from fighting about which child is the real Golden Freddy. Instead, it says they all are. The weakness is that it can feel overcomplicated. 3 souls in one animatronic is a lot. It requires a very flexible understanding of how possession works in FNAF, and not everyone is comfortable with that level of flexibility. But FNAF has given fans reasons to think possession can be complicated. The Stitch Wraith from Fazbear Frights contains 2 souls, Jake and Andrew. They share one body, and their personalities, memories and goals sometimes conflict. If the Stitch Wraith can have 2 souls, why not Golden Freddy? And if 2, why not 3? The Funtime animatronics also complicate possession. The Funtimes are built with Remnant, which is described as molten soul energy. Remnant can be mixed, injected and combined. If souls can be melted and merged, then maybe Golden Freddy's not a clean one soul one suit situation. Maybe Golden Freddy is a spiritual knot, a place where multiple remnants, memories and identities have tangled together over time. That interpretation makes Golden Freddy less like a person, and more like a haunted location. He is not one ghost. He is the place where ghosts gather. He is the yellow bear that everyone who dies near Fredbear ends up connected to. The crying child dies in Fredbear's mouth. Cassidy is murdered and hidden in a golden suit. Andrew in the books is connected to the golden bear imagery. Michael Brooks in the novels is Golden Freddy. The movie's blonde child is associated with Golden Freddy. Every continuity has a child in the Golden Bear, but the child's name and face change. Maybe that is the point. Maybe Golden Freddy is not meant to have one fixed identity. Maybe Golden Freddy is the franchise's way of showing that trauma, death and memory do not stay neatly separated. They bleed into each other, they overlap, they haunt the same spaces. Golden Freddy is the space where all the dead children meet, whether they know each other or not. This is a very abstract way to think about the character, but it fits how Golden Freddy behaves. He does not follow normal rules, he appears and disappears, he crashes games, he exists in ways that other animatronics do not. Maybe that is because he is not one thing. He is many things, layered on top of each other, all wearing the same yellow bear face. The movie adds another layer to this. The FNAF movie is its own continuity, separate from the games and the books. But it still uses Golden Freddy, and it still connects Golden Freddy to a murdered child. In the movie, the child associated with Golden Freddy is a blonde boy, visually different from how fans often imagine Cassidy or the crying child. This shows that Golden Freddy's role is consistent across continuities, but the specific identity is not. For some fans, this strengthens the idea that Golden Freddy is a role, not a person. The role is the fifth child, the hidden one, the one connected to the Golden Bear, the one with the deepest connection to the protagonist or the villain. In the games, that role might be Cassidy. In the novels, that role is Michael Brooks. In Fazbear Frights, that role is Andrew. In the movie, that role is the blonde boy. They are all Golden Freddy because they all fill the same narrative function. But other fans reject this. They want Golden Freddy to have one true identity in the games, one name that is correct, one child whose story is the real story. For those fans, Cassidy is usually the answer, because Cassidy has the strongest game evidence. The logbook puzzle is not ambiguous. It spells out Cassidy. That is a name. That is evidence. That is something concrete in a series that often refuses to be concrete. Cassidy also fits the emotional arc of the series. The missing children are the heart of FNAF's tragedy. They are the reason the animatronics are haunted. They are the reason William Afton is a villain. They are the reason the restaurants are cursed. If Cassidy is the fifth missing child, then Cassidy completes the group. Gabriel, Jeremy, Susie, Fritz and Cassidy. Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, Foxy and Golden Freddy. The set is complete. The hidden grave in Pizzeria Simulator supports this. 4 graves are visible and 1 is hidden. The hidden grave is positioned in a way that suggests it is important, that it is the answer to a question the series has been asking since the beginning. If that hidden grave is Cassidy's, then Cassidy is the child who was always there but always obscured, the fifth victim, the one William thought he could hide forever. That makes Cassidy's role in Ultimate Custom Night even more powerful. If Cassidy is the one you should not have killed, then Cassidy is the child William underestimated. William thought he could hide Cassidy's death, bury the evidence and move on. But Cassidy did not move on. Cassidy became the ghost that William could not escape. The nightmare that would not end, the voice that kept saying, "It's me, remember me. You cannot forget me." The phrase "it's me" takes on new meaning with this interpretation. It is not only a ghost trying to be recognised, it is a ghost insisting on being remembered by the person who tried to erase them. William Afton wanted the missing children to disappear. He wanted them to be forgotten, to become nothing more than a news story that faded with time. But the children did not disappear. They became animatronics. They became hauntings. They became the thing William could not escape. And Cassidy, the hidden one, became the worst haunting of all. Because Cassidy was the one William thought he had hidden best. Cassidy was the one whose name did not appear on the surface. Cassidy was the one who should have been forgotten. But Cassidy refused. Cassidy became Golden Freddy, the animatronic that does not follow the rules, the ghost that appears without warning, the presence that crashes the game and forces the player to acknowledge that something is wrong. That is why Golden Freddy is so important to the series. He is not only a character, he is a statement. He is the series saying, you cannot hide the dead, you cannot bury the truth. The children will be remembered whether you want them to be or not. The crying child adds a different emotional layer. If the crying child is part of Golden Freddy, then Golden Freddy is not only about William's victims. Golden Freddy is also about William's family. The crying child is widely believed to be William Afton's son. His death is not a murder. It is a tragedy caused by negligence, bullying, and the dangerous machinery that William helped create. The crying child dies because of Fredbear, and Fredbear exists because of William. That makes the crying child's haunting deeply personal. If the crying child is in Golden Freddy, then every time Golden Freddy appears to William, it is not only a murdered child seeking revenge. It is William's own son, broken by the same animatronic empire that William built. It is a reminder that William's crimes did not only hurt strangers, they hurt his own family. The phrase, "I will put you back together," becomes even more tragic with this reading. If William is the one speaking through the Fredbear plush, then William is promising to fix his son. But William's way of fixing things is through Remnant, through animatronics, through experiments that blur the line between life and death. Maybe William did put his son back together, but not in a way that brought him peace. Maybe William put his son into Golden Freddy, into the same cursed existence as the children William murdered. That would make Golden Freddy the ultimate symbol of William's failure. He failed as a father, he failed as a businessman, he failed as a human being, and all of those failures are contained in one slumped yellow bear, sitting in the dark, staring with empty eyes. Golden Duo, then, is not only a theory about two souls, it is a theory about two kinds of guilt. Cassidy represents the guilt of murder, of taking innocent lives for selfish reasons. The crying child represents the guilt of neglect, of building something dangerous and letting it destroy your own family. Together, they make Golden Freddy the ghost that William can never escape, because Golden Freddy is everything William did wrong. Old Man Consequence's line, "Leave the demon to his demons," takes on new meaning here. Maybe the demons are not only William's guilt, maybe the demons are the children themselves, the ghosts that William created through his actions. Maybe Old Man Consequences is saying, let William be haunted by what he did. You do not need to keep tormenting him. His own guilt will do that forever. But the bear does not listen. The bear keeps William trapped. Maybe that is because the bear is not only seeking justice, the bear is seeking acknowledgement. The bear wants William to remember, to understand, to feel the weight of every life he destroyed. And William, even in death, even in a nightmare, still does not fully understand. So the bear keeps him there, keeps him suffering, keeps him trapped in a loop where he has to face the children again and again. That is the emotional core of Ultimate Custom Night. It is not only a game where you survive animatronic attacks, it is a game where you are forced to remember. Every voice line, every jump scare, every mechanic is a reminder of what William did. The animatronics are not only trying to kill him, they are trying to make him see them, to make him acknowledge that they were real children with real lives that he took away. Golden Freddy is the centre of that acknowledgement. Golden Freddy is the one who appears at the end, twitching in the dark, refusing to let William go. Golden Freddy is the child, or children, who will not be forgotten. And that is why the identity matters so much to fans, because knowing who Golden Freddy is means knowing who William failed to erase. If Golden Freddy is Cassidy, then William failed to hide his fifth victim. If Golden Freddy is the crying child, then William failed to protect his own son. If Golden Freddy is both, then William failed in every possible way. And if Golden Freddy is a role that different children fill in different continuities, then William's failure is universal, repeating across every version of the story. The mystery of Golden Freddy's identity is not only a puzzle to solve, it is a question about what the series is trying to say. Is FNAF about murdered children seeking revenge? Is it about family tragedy? Is it about the impossibility of hiding guilt? Is it about the way trauma and memory refuse to stay buried? The answer is probably all of those things. And Golden Freddy, with his many possible identities, his strange behaviour, his refusal to follow the rules, is the perfect symbol for a series that has always been about things that will not stay hidden. So as we drift toward the end of this, we can hold all the theories gently, like holding different photographs of the same person taken in different light. Cassidy is the hidden name, the fifth child, the one discovered through puzzles and patience. The crying child is the broken boy, the one who died in Fredbear's mouth, the one promised to be put back together. Michael Brooks is the novel's Golden Freddy, showing us the role in a different continuity. Andrew is the vengeful spirit from Fazbear Frights, the one who keeps William suffering. The movie's blonde child is another face, another version, another way the Golden Bear role appears. And Golden Freddy himself is the yellow bear, slumped and impossible, the ghost that does not need to move to be terrifying, the presence that says, "It's me, remember me, I am still here." Maybe the identity will be confirmed someday. Maybe Scott Cawthon will release a game or a book that says clearly and without ambiguity, Golden Freddy is Cassidy, or Golden Freddy is the crying child, or Golden Freddy is both. Maybe the mystery will be solved in a way that satisfies everyone, or maybe it will not. Maybe Golden Freddy is meant to stay mysterious, meant to be the question that never gets a clean answer, meant to be the ghost that refuses to be pinned down. Either way, the theories will remain. They are part of the experience of FNAF, part of the community, part of the way fans engage with the story. The debates, the evidence, the arguments, the compromises, they're all part of what makes Golden Freddy feel alive, even though he is a ghost. Before we close completely, let us walk through one more layer, the way Golden Freddy has evolved through each game, and how that evolution has shaped the identity theories. In the first 5 Nights at Freddy's, Golden Freddy is pure mystery. There is no context for who he might be. There is no missing children incident explained yet. There is no bite of 83. There is only a rare event where a golden bear appears in your office slumped and wrong, and if you look at him too long, the game crashes. That crash is important. It is not a jump scare, it is a rejection. Golden Freddy does not kill you in the normal way. He breaks the game itself. That behaviour told early fans that Golden Freddy was different. He was not playing by the same rules as Freddy, Bonnie, Chica and Foxy. He was something else. A glitch, a ghost, a memory that the game could not contain. That feeling has never fully gone away, even as the lore has expanded and given Golden Freddy more context. He still feels like the character who does not belong, who breaks the fourth wall, who exists in a space between the game and the player. The second game, 5 Nights at Freddy's 2, gives Golden Freddy a withered form and introduces the giant floating head. The head is absurd and terrifying in equal measure. It is too big, it moves too fast, it does not make physical sense. A normal animatronic cannot do that, but Golden Freddy is not a normal animatronic. The giant head reinforces the idea that Golden Freddy is not bound by the same physical rules as the others. He is not a robot that walks down a hallway. He is an image, a projection, a manifestation of something that does not need a body to exist. FNAF 2 also introduces the death minigames, where players see the missing children incident for the first time. The minigames show children being lured, murdered, and stuffed into suits. They show the puppet giving gifts, giving life. They show that the animatronics are haunted by dead children. This context changes Golden Freddy. He is no longer only a mysterious glitch. He is a murdered child like the others, but he is still the strange one, the one whose behaviour does not match the pattern. The third game, 5 Nights at Freddy's 3, brings the Happiest Day minigame. A child wearing a Golden Freddy mask receives a cake. The other children, wearing masks of Freddy, Bonnie, Chica and Foxy, are already there. The scene is soft, dreamlike and sad. It feels like a release, like the children are finally being allowed to rest. The Golden Freddy child is the last to receive the cake, which suggests that this child is the most important, or the most difficult to free, or the one who needed the most help. For Cassidy theorists, this is the moment when the 5th missing child is finally given peace. For crying child theorists, this is the birthday party that the crying child never got to have, the moment when he is finally put back together in a symbolic sense. For Golden Duo theorists, this is the moment when one spirit helps the other remember, when Cassidy gives the crying child the party he was denied. The image of the Golden Freddy child receiving the cake is one of the most important visuals in the series. It does not tell us a name. It does not explain the mechanics of how the child got there. It simply shows us that the Golden Bear's spirit is connected to the idea of a party, a gift, a moment of happiness that was stolen and is now being returned. That emotional beat is more important than any specific identity. It tells us that Golden Freddy, whoever he is, deserves peace. FNAF 4 then shifts the entire conversation by introducing the crying child and the bite of 83. Suddenly, Golden Freddy is not only about the missing children incident. He's also about a child who died in Fredbear's mouth, a child who was scared of the animatronics, a child who was promised that he would be put back together. The game does not say that the crying child becomes Golden Freddy, but the visual and thematic connections are strong enough that fans immediately started theorizing. The crying child's bedroom contains toys of Freddy, Bonnie, Chica and Foxy. He calls them his friends. But he is terrified of Fredbear. That fear is important. If the crying child becomes Golden Freddy, then Golden Freddy is a child trapped inside the thing he feared most. That is a very dark, very tragic version of possession. It is not a child seeking revenge. It is a child who cannot escape the source of his trauma. Sister Location and Pizzeria Simulator add the concepts of remnant and scooping, which make possession more mechanical and less purely spiritual. Remnant is described as molten soul energy, something that can be extracted, injected, and combined. This opens the door for theories where souls are not cleanly separated. If remnant can be mixed, then maybe the crying child's remnant and Cassidy's remnant both ended up in Golden Freddy, either intentionally or accidentally. Pizzeria Simulator also gives us the gravestones. 4 visible graves, 1 hidden. The hidden grave is positioned in a way that draws attention to it. It is not simply off to the side. It is deliberately obscured, as if the game is saying, this one is important. This one is the answer you have been looking for. When fans solved the logbook puzzle and found the name Cassidy, the hidden grave became Cassidy's grave in most people's minds. The visual and the puzzle lined up. The 5th missing child had a name, but the gravestone does not have the name written on it. It is hidden. That absence is as important as the presence of the other names. Golden Freddy's identity is not announced. It is discovered. It is hidden. It requires work. That is thematically consistent with everything Golden Freddy has been since the first game. He is the secret. He is the thing you have to look for. He is the answer that the game will not give you directly. Ultimate Custom Night then takes Golden Freddy in a new direction. He is no longer only a victim, he is an agent of punishment. The voice lines about the one you should not have killed suggest a spirit who is not passive, not waiting to be freed, but actively holding William Afton in a nightmare. The final cutscene, with Golden Freddy twitching in the dark, is one of the most unsettling images in the series. It is not a jump scare, it is a presence. It is the feeling of being watched by something that will not let you go. This is where Cassidy's character, if Cassidy is Golden Freddy, becomes more complex. Cassidy is not only a murdered child. Cassidy is a child who has chosen revenge over peace. Cassidy is the one who refuses to move on, who refuses to let William die, who keeps the nightmare running. That makes Cassidy both a victim and, in a strange way, a villain. Not a villain in the sense of being evil, but a villain in the sense of being unable to let go, unable to forgive, unable to rest. Old Man Consequence's line, "Leave the demon to his demons," is directed at this version of Golden Freddy. It is a plea to stop, to let go, to find peace. But Golden Freddy does not stop. That refusal is tragic. It suggests that revenge has consumed the spirit so completely that even the possibility of rest is rejected. The child has become the haunting, and the haunting has become the child's entire existence. If the crying child is part of Golden Freddy, then maybe the crying child is the one being told to rest, while Cassidy is the one refusing. Maybe the two spirits are in conflict, with one wanting peace and the other wanting revenge. That internal conflict could explain why Golden Freddy's behaviour is so erratic, why he sometimes seems passive and other times seems aggressive. He is not one mind, he is two minds, pulling in different directions. The Fazbear Frights books, particularly the Stitch Wraith epilogues, give fans a model for how two souls can share one body. Jake and Andrew are both inside the Stitch Wraith. They have different personalities, different memories, and different goals. Sometimes they work together, sometimes they conflict. The Stitch Wraith is not a clean possession. It is a messy, complicated haunting where two people are trying to exist in a space meant for one. If Golden Freddy is like the Stitch Wraith, then Golden Freddy is not a single character with a single motivation. He is two characters, two tragedies, two sets of memories, all tangled together in one yellow bear suit. That makes Golden Freddy harder to understand, but it also makes him more human. Real people are complicated. Real trauma is complicated. Real grief does not follow clean narrative rules. Golden Freddy, as a character who contains multiple identities, reflects that complexity. The movie's version of Golden Freddy adds yet another layer. The movie is its own continuity, but it still uses the same basic structure. Murdered children, haunted animatronics, a villain who cannot escape his crimes. The child associated with Golden Freddy in the movie is visually different from the game theories, but the role is the same. Golden Freddy is the fifth child, the one with a special connection to the protagonist, the one who seems to understand more than the others. That consistency across continuities suggests that Golden Freddy's role is more important than Golden Freddy's specific identity. The role is the hidden child, the one who is almost forgotten, the one who refuses to be erased. In the games, that role is filled by Cassidy, or the crying child, or both. In the novels, that role is filled by Michael Brooks. In Fazbear Frights, that role is filled by Andrew. In the movie, that role is filled by the blonde boy. The name changes, but the function remains the same. This is why the identity debate is so persistent. Fans are not only arguing about a name, they're arguing about what the name represents. Is Golden Freddy the symbol of William's hidden crimes? Is he the symbol of family tragedy? Is he the symbol of revenge that consumes the person seeking it? Is he the symbol of memory that refuses to fade? The answer depends on which identity you choose, and which identity you choose depends on what you think the series is trying to say. For fans who see FNAF as primarily about the missing children incident, Cassidy is the natural answer. Cassidy completes the set of 5 victims. Cassidy is the hidden name that players had to work to discover. Cassidy is the child William thought he could bury, but who became the ghost William could not escape. For fans who see FNAF as primarily about the Afton family, the crying child is the natural answer. The crying child is William's son, broken by the same machines William helped create. The crying child is the proof that William's crimes hurt not only strangers, but his own family. The crying child is the tragedy that started everything, the death that set the Afton family on a path of destruction. For fans who see FNAF as a story about layered trauma and complicated hauntings, Golden Duo is the natural answer. Both children matter. Both tragedies are real. Both spirits are part of Golden Freddy, and their combined presence is what makes Golden Freddy so strange, so powerful, and so impossible to fully understand. For fans who prioritise the books as a way to understand the games, Andrew is important. Andrew shows what a vengeful spirit looks like when it refuses to let go. Andrew shows the mechanics of keeping someone trapped in suffering. Andrew may not be the game's Golden Freddy, but he is the blueprint for understanding what the one you should not have killed is doing to William. And for fans who see FNAF as a multimedia franchise where each continuity tells a version of the same story, Golden Freddy is all of them. He is Cassidy in the games, Michael Brooks in the novels, Andrew in Fazbear Frights, and the blonde boy in the movie. He is the role that different children fill, the space where the story's central tragedy is always located. None of these interpretations are wrong. They are all ways of engaging with a story that has deliberately left space for interpretation. Scott Cawthon has said that he likes when fans theorise, when they dig into the details, when they argue about what things mean. Golden Freddy is the perfect character for that kind of engagement, because he's never been fully explained. He has been hinted at, implied, suggested and symbolised, but never definitively stated. That ambiguity is frustrating for fans who want clear answers, but it is also what keeps the conversation alive. If Golden Freddy's identity were confirmed in a way that left no room for doubt, the mystery would be over, the debates would end, the theories would stop, and something would be lost. Because the theories are not only about finding the right answer, they're about engaging with the story, about thinking deeply about the characters, about caring enough to spend hours analysing a word search puzzle, or a hidden gravestone, or a line of dialogue from a character who only appears for a few seconds. Golden Freddy's identity matters because the fans have made it matter. They have invested time, thought and emotion into figuring out who the Yellow Bear is. They have built elaborate theories, created fan art, written stories, and argued passionately about evidence and interpretation. That investment is what makes Golden Freddy feel real, even though he is a fictional character in a horror game about haunted animatronics. And maybe that is the final answer to the question of who Golden Freddy is. Golden Freddy is whoever the story needs him to be. He is Cassidy when the story is about hidden victims. He is the crying child when the story is about family tragedy. He is both when the story is about complicated hauntings. He is Andrew when the story is about revenge. He is Michael Brooks when the story is in a different continuity. He is the blonde boy when the story is on a movie screen. Golden Freddy is the yellow bear who sits in the dark, slumped and impossible, waiting to be remembered. And as long as fans keep remembering, keep theorising, keep caring, Golden Freddy will remain exactly what he's always been, the ghost who refuses to be forgotten. So rest now, knowing that the mystery is part of the story, the uncertainty is part of the experience, the debates are part of the community. Golden Freddy does not need a single confirmed identity to matter. He matters because he is the question that the series keeps asking: who are the children? What happened to them? Why can they not rest? And what does it mean to be remembered? The answers are in the theories, all of them. Cassidy, the crying child, Michael Brooks, Andrew, the movie's blonde boy. They're all Golden Freddy because they all represent the same thing. A child who was hurt, who was hidden, who was almost forgotten, but who found a way to be seen. It's me. Remember me. I am still here, and I will not be forgotten. Good night, and may your dreams be filled not with fear, but with the quiet understanding that every ghost is a person who wanted to be remembered, and every mystery is a story waiting to be told. Sleep well.